The THRIVEHOOD podcast is a useful resource for boys and young men who want to thrive as they mature into manhood. I'll be your host, Tim Williams, and welcome to the THRIVEHOOD podcast. Hey guys, thanks for joining me again today on another edition of the THRIVEHOOD podcast. If you're just now tuning in, I hope you're having a good day. And from wherever you're listening, I hope that there's a nugget or two of information here that I can leave with you that you can utilize and apply to your life. And that's sort of the whole goal here, right? So, hey, let's dive right into it. The true measure of success. Over the last, 10 to 15 years, I've really begun to see a shift in the definition of success. The definition of success, as I understand it and as I've looked it up, is quite simple and basic. You put an objective or a target or a goal out there and you hit it. And if you hit it, you are successful. What I'm afraid that I'm seeing and what's beginning to happen is that we are attributing success with finances. Almost in every facet of the world, you begin to see that success, for some reason, the mighty dollar, the Benjamins, the greenback, whatever you call it, it's almost as if under the word success, with the definition, they need to put a $1,000 bill, a picture of a $1,000 bill. Well, that's not right. That's not what success is. And so today I want to take a few minutes and I want to share a quick story with you to help you identify, as you're maturing and growing up there, to maybe reevaluate if you think that's what it is, because I think this is important. My early 30s, I was trying to make it in the business world and the professional world and working my way up to the top, as most of us try to do. And I ran across this guy by the name of Zig Ziglar. If you've not heard of him, you need to check him out. He's an excellent communicator. Yes, he is a little bit of a motivational speaker, and I get that. Some people are turned off by that. I don't necessarily get into that a whole lot. So I understand if you're not into that. However, at a moment in time in my life, I had heard a story of a young man that seemingly had what he thought was the definition of success, and found out he was quite wrong in that. And it really just hit home with me. It tuned me in, and it helped me sort of re-identify what I was looking at as far as success was concerned, and it helped adjust me a little bit. So I want to share that with you today for just a few minutes. Now I'm going to sort of plagiarize Zig's story here. I'm going to sort of make it mine, but I at least wanted to give him credit for the shell that I'll use as I sort of make up my own story here. But there's a young man by the name of John who had been hired by this fella. Oh, he'd probably been in his job a couple of years now at this point. And this man that had hired him was a entrepreneur and started this startup business and was just raking in the dough, just millions upon millions of dollars. And the local newspaper in that city had heard about this company and noticed how well they were doing. So the newspaper sent out a reporter, and the reporter sat down, and the company decided to have John represent them. So they sat down for an interview. And the reporter began asking basic questions of, well, what does the company do, and how long have they been here, and what are they trying to accomplish? What's their mission, vision statement, all that sort of stuff. And the reporter asked John, says, well, what do you think about the owner? Oh man, John just went on and on about how great the owner of the company was, and said, man, this guy, he's probably going to be able to retire before the age of 40. He's ruthless. He's a shark. He gets out there and he gets things done, and he's tearing it up, and he's taking names, and he doesn't care who he hurts. He's just killing it. And man, I'm learning so much under his leadership and finding out what what success is all about, and I'm going to be able to learn and take back some of this information and be able to move on and maybe emulate what he's done. So the reporter asked few more questions, and then there was a question that was posed to John, and this question was, well, he seems to work a lot. John said, yeah, he works all the time. I mean, just he's here when I get here. He's here when I leave. Sometimes, when I'm running weekend errands, I'll drive by the office and I see his car there. So the reporter said, well, is he married? Does he have a family? And John responded and said, no, I think he's been divorced 3 or 4 times. And I think the last marriage went actually pretty bad. It was pretty ugly. I think even the wife sued him or at least tried to sue him for about everything that he has. And it went really bad. I think his kids are sort of out of the picture now. And so it went really bad. And the reporter asked, kids, so he has kids? And John replied and said, yeah, he's got, I think, 2 or 3. He doesn't really talk about them. And John said, as a matter of fact, it's weird. He doesn't have any pictures of anybody on his desk. You would think a guy like that would have pictures. But John said, anyway, yeah, he's got a daughter that I think got pregnant when she was like 13 or 14 and had the baby out of wedlock. And I don't know where she's at now. And he's got another son that I think is a drug addict. And he's, I think, out on Skid Row. And then he's got another son from what I gather, that's actually a pretty upright dude, but he doesn't want to talk to my boss at all. So the reporter, was sort of taken back by all this. And the reporter said, well, so is he in good health? Is he kind of started making him wonder, is this guy, and should we be concerned about him? Should he be concerned about him? He's like, yeah, John said, yeah, he does have some issues. He says, I'll say this off the record, but yeah, he's probably pretty overweight. And I think he even said that, and he said, again, this is off the record, but he says, I think he's even probably has some lung issues. And he says, actually, the guy smokes like 5 or 6 packs of cigarettes a day. And I know he, kicks back the bottle once in a while. So I could see why his lungs are probably failing him. And he said he's, half the time he comes in, his eyes are all bloodshot. So he said, yeah, I don't know that he's doing the best for his health. He eats a lot of fast food because he's always working. And so, yeah, I would say that that's a bit of a challenge for him too. And the reporter said, well, does he have any support system? Is there a group or, even a tribe of either men, or maybe his church, or does he belong to a club of some sort, or is there anybody around that's sort of there for him? And John looked at the interviewer and he says, you know what? He told me once about a year ago that most people hate him and he hates most people. So he's got a great relationship with everyone. And the reporter stopped for a minute and he pondered what John had just said. And he looked at John and he said, John, I got a question for you. Based on everything you just told me, would you really consider your boss someone that is successful? And John was speechless. He didn't know what to say. Success isn't all about money. We in America, especially in America, have seemed to make it that. Success, in my opinion, is the well-roundedness of an individual. If you have all the money in the world and all of these other categories in your life are not being attended to, what value is money? If you have money and no family, that's going to impact you. If you have money and no friends and no support system, that money is not going to be the same. It's not going to feel the same. It's not going to spend the same. If you have all the money in the world and you don't have your health, what good is your money? If you have a strong family and are doing the best that you can with your family, but you're not going out and trying to provide for them, and you're not trying to get a good job and work hard to bring in the income, that doesn't help either. If you have great health, you're in good health, but you just spend all your time on your body and making yourself look good and feel good and eating right, but you don't want to go out and get a job and bring in the finances to take care of the family, well, what value is that? You see, there is a balance. There are scales in life. And if we're not careful, as we begin to look at one category of our life and put all of our eggs in that one basket, what can begin to happen is these other categories, these other areas begin to be less focused on, and that begins to tip the scale too far in one direction or the other. I would ask that you take a moment and reflect on that story about John, because in his mind, he thought he knew what success was. And by the time the interview was over, John had realized that he truly missed what success really looked like. Every area of your life is important. So I would ask that you would take some time and think about that. And if you have been thinking in terms of one focus about what success means to you, I hope that maybe this gives you a little insight and maybe a little eye-opener to say, hey, you know what? I need to really think on this in a broader sense that will bring balance to my life. Remember again what the definition of success is. It's setting a goal and achieving it. And that is in all phases of your life. I appreciate you guys checking me out again today. Stay with us as we'll continue to bring you some more episodes in the coming days and weeks ahead. And until then, stay strong, guys.